if you see something, say something. And I'd like to just share with you the first few paragraphs of the book, and then turn it over to Mike. This is a book about America that began in China. In September 2010, Tom attended the World Economic Forum Summer Conference in Tianjin, China. 5 years earlier, getting to Tianjin had involved a 3.5-hour car ride from Beijing to a polluted, crowded Chinese version of Detroit. But things had changed. Now to get to Tianjin, you head to the Beijing South Railway Station, an ultra-modern flying saucer of a building with glass walls and an oval roof covered with 3,246 solar panels. Buy a ticket from an electronic kiosk offering choices in Chinese and English, and board a world-class high-speed train that goes right to another roomy, modern train station in downtown Tianjin. Said to be the fastest in the world when it began operating in 2008, the Chinese bullet train covers 115 kilometers, or 72 miles, in 29 minutes. The conference itself took place at the Tianjin Beijing Convention and Exhibition Center, a massive, beautifully appointed structure, the like of which exists in few American cities. As if the convention center wasn't impressive enough, the conference's co-sponsors in Tianjin gave some facts and figures about it. They noted it contained a total floor area of 230,000 square meters, and that construction of the Beijing Convention Center started on September 15, 2009, and was completed in May 2010. When I read that line, I walked around my room, September, October. That's 8.5 months. 8.5 months. On returning from my trip to China, I was telling Michael about it on the phone, and at one point Michael's wife, Ann, asked, "Excuse me, Tom, have you been to our subway stop lately?" We both live in Bethesda, often take the subway, the Washington Metro rail, to get to downtown DC. Tom had just been at the Bethesda station and knew exactly what Ann was talking about. The two short escalators there had been under repair for nearly 6 months. While the one being fixed was closed, the other had to be shut off and converted into a two-way staircase. At rush hour, this was creating a huge mess. Everyone trying to get on and off the platform had to squeeze single file up and down one frozen escalator. It sometimes took 10 minutes just to get out of the station. Sign on the closed escalator said its repairs were part of a massive escalator modernization project. What was taking this modernization project so long? We investigated. Kathy Asado, a spokeswoman for Washington Metro, said that the repairs were scheduled to take about 6 months and are on schedule. Mechanics need 10 to 12 weeks to fix each escalator. A simple comparison made a startling point. It took China's TEDA construction group 32 weeks to build a world-class convention center from the ground up, including giant escalators in every corner. And it was taking the Washington Metro crew 24 weeks to repair two tiny escalators of 21 steps each. On November 14, 2010, the Washington Post ran a letter to the editor from Mark Thompson of Kensington, Maryland, who wrote, "I have noted with interest your reporting on the $225,000 study that Metro hired Vertical Transportation Excellence to conduct into the sorry state of the system's escalators and elevators. I am sure that the study has merit, but as someone who has ridden Metro for more than 30 years, I can think of an easier way to assess the health of the escalators. For decades they ran silently and efficiently, but over the past several years, when the escalators were running, aging or ill-fitting parts have generated horrific noises that sound to me like a Tyrannosaurus Rex trapped in a tar pit, screeching its dying scream." But the quote we found most disturbing came from Maryland Community News story about the long lines at rush hour caused by the seemingly endless Metro repairs. Quote, "My impression standing on line there is people have sort of gotten used to it," said Benjamin Ross, who lives in Bethesda and commutes every day. People have sort of gotten used to it. Indeed, that sense of resignation, that sense that, well, this is just how things are in America today, that sense that America's best days are behind it and China's best days are ahead of it, have become the subject of water cooler, dinner party, grocery line, and classroom conversations all across America And the reason we call this first chapter, If You See Something, Say Something, is because we have seen something. Something we consider to be a far greater threat to our country and its future than any suspicious package left by a would-be terrorist under the stairwell. It's something hiding in plain sight. It's a country in the worst kind of decline, a slow, incremental decline. Just slow and incremental enough for us to delude ourselves that we can take our time, put it off, destroy this president, wait for the next one. We've got all the time in the world. We don't have all the time in the world. We need to reverse this decline. We've seen something.